So we have two brand new WE knives here that just dropped. I will link everything down in the description for you guys. These are both somewhat tactical-ish knives. The first one is the WE Shadowfire. Now, it doesn't say that this is a tactical knife, but to me, it absolutely is, and I'm going to talk about why. Now, it does come in different color options, so there is different flavors, and then, you know, the price there's a price difference between certain models. Now, the blade is a 20 CV, beautiful dual ground tanto. I love how this tanto kind of clips down right here. Then it has the dual grind, so it's robust in the tip area, hollow here. Beautiful sharpening tool and plunge grind. When you're slicing, because this is a nice flat area, you have leverage all the way out to here. So you have a lot of cutting edge that has a lot of leverage throughout powerful cuts. And then the tip, because it clips down a little bit, it's going to be easy to get to the tip for, you know, for that type of use. And, you know, you have a secondary tip. It's not the most pronounced, but you can absolutely use it. The titanium frame lock, very well done. It has titanium backspacer and a milled titanium pocket clip. Before we talk about the action, the ergonomics are so good. This knife has a ton of balance. So one thing I really like about it is that it feels very natural to me for me to go from the forward grip to the reverse grip and then back to the forward grip. It's very easy. The handle shape and weight and just the weight distribution, everything just works out really good with this one. And you know, because it does have the flipper tab, you know, it can kind of protect you from sliding up if you were gonna jam it into something, and it has a nice strong tip. So it should survive, you know, for poking things. And then the handle, the way it's shaped, you know, it kind of nestles in your hand really good. It's super duper comfortable. And the flipper tab is made for you to kind of choke over if you need to get up nice and tight to that edge. You can turn it around and cut straps. Pinch grips are going to be great. And like I said, the forward grip like this, very, very comfortable. Reverse gas station knife fighting grip, very, very comfortable. It has a very neutral handle, so you can kind of just see it's going to be very, very comfortable. Now, getting into the action is really, really good. Fantastic access to the lock bar, very comfortable disengagement. Fall shut deployment, or fall shut action, not deployment. Fall shut closing, very, very smooth. Nice, comfortable flipper tab that's well jimped. Perfect amount of tension for the flip. It flips rapidly with authority. Great flipping action. You can kind of do a push button, but it mostly likes an in-between, a light switch and a push button. Very comfortable though, very easy to rapidly deploy. And then very easy to rapidly close. T8 hardware all the way around, and I gotta say, titanium hardware from WE Knife Co., they do a really good job. So they have hardened titanium hardware, and in a lot of cases, some companies that are using titanium hardware, it's soft and it strips out really easily. WE Knife Co. has some of the best T8 hardware I've seen. So very happy with that. Now, I will say these are only one-sided, as you can see, at least for the two body screws. So you want to make sure not to strip those out. They're really good. So, you know, I have no doubt that you probably won't strip them out, you know, but it is something to just, you know, make sure you're using a good T8 bit when you take it apart, because you don't have any other screws to replace, you know, if these go bad. It's just those two. Aside from the other screws, you know, I'm just talking about those two body screws. Lots of milling on the inside. And yeah, like I said, this thing to me is a fantastic tactical folding knife. Now, some people argue, you know, about that. I don't care. You know, with a frame lock, when you're squeezing it, you're making it stronger. You know, I'm not saying to go and baton with it. As far as negatives go, the only thing I can really say is, you know, the clip with this finish, it has that powdery finish. So if you don't like that, make sure you get one of the other color options, because it does have that powdery feel, or at least at first, until, you know, it kind of wears off, which does happen over time. But it makes the clip a little bit tight going in and out of the pocket. It still works good. It's still just fine. It's not a bad clip at all. The clip works good. But, you know, it just has that kind of tacky feeling on the titanium because of the finish. Not a big deal. But other than that, you know, I like the way this looks with the screws, but you know, it does feel good having 2 sets of hardware on both sides, but it's not even a big deal. So I'm not even gonna complain about it. Other than that, you know, awesome. Really no other really complaints. Let's get to the next one. The next one is the Envisage. Now the Envisage is designed by Geoff Blavelt. I'm probably butchering that, so forgive me if I am, but 20 CV, we have a front flipping thumb stud action drop point blade, beautiful drop point blade, big belly drop point blade, nice and slicey, and then it has a titanium frame lock with a karambit ring. So you do have a spot right there for bashing and hitting, you know, whether you're going to hold it in the reverse grip or the forward grip, you know, you got that right there for some knuckle bashing. The titanium scales do have these holes through them that kind of get blocked off by the blade when it's in, but when it pops out, you can see right through them. Kind of adds some, you know, some air cooling vents to it, you know, so it doesn't overheat with, you know, high mileage or, you know, high-end speeds. Now, the front flipper, super snappy. I got to give this thing credit. The action is surprisingly really good. The detent is, listen to this. The detent is so crispy, you really feel that detent break and snap out. And then it just doesn't feel like the blade has to go very far. So by the time it's open and the lock bar is engaged, it feels so powerful. Same thing with the front flipper. It works really good. And the detent, even though it has a nice stout detent, it still is very easy to deploy with the front flipper. Now, access to the lock bar, nice and comfortable disengagement. They didn't give you like the biggest cutout, but they gave you something, and it's comfortable. As far as using this blade, you know, it is a big belly. You can still get to the tip, and you know, if you're gonna pinch grip it, you know, to use the tip, it is pretty easy to do, but it's not the most pokiest tip because it has such a big belly. So in a lot of cuts, you're probably gonna use some of the belly when cutting. As far as slicing goes, don't plan on it being your box destroyer or anything. It's just the blade is too stubby with too much belly, so you're likely to slip out of cuts. That's not a complaint. It's just, that's the way big belly drop point knives are. So, you know, yes, you can still make long cuts. It's not a problem. You just kind of kink the knife like this, and it's pretty easy to do. Rope cutting and things like that on a surface is going to be really good because you have that belly, so you can really grind it down in. But, you know, big belly, short drop points like this, you know, they tend to slip out of cuts a little bit. You know, even though that this is not going to be that style knife anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The sharpening tool and plunge grind could be better, but it's fine. It's not bad. You're going to get a few sharpenings off of that. Now, the ergonomics, when you hold it with the karambit ring and the forward grip, you know, it's pretty comfortable. The clip is on the spine, and I always recommend never to put the clip on the spine. In this case, because of the karambit ring, you really don't feel it because you know, you're just a little bit lower and it winds up tucking up here in this position. But if I hold it without the karambit ring, then yes, I can feel that clip. But it's, you know, you kind of mostly just hold it with the karambit ring. Now, if you go in the reverse grip, the clip definitely doesn't bother you there. And, you know, this is a very comfortable grip as well. So regardless if you're in the forward or the reverse grip, it works well, or sorry, it's very comfortable in the hand. Now, taking it out of the pocket and deploying it, because it doesn't have the one thing that I'm surprised it doesn't have a wave feature, because being a karambit style, you'd think that you'd want to be able to pull it out and rapidly deploy it, pulling it out of the pocket. I'm surprised they didn't have like a little feature, maybe even a little feature you can put on. Now, I will say I've gotten really good at deploying this thing rapidly without an issue. So the way you do it is either one, you go from the pinky, and as you pull it out of the pocket, you swing it forward like this, and then reverse flick, or, you know, thumb flick, whatever you want to do. So you just got to pull it out with your pinky, swing it forward like that, pop it out. It's pretty fast. Or, which I think this way is even faster, you pinch it just like this, pull it out, and then snap it out. As you're pulling it out of the pocket, you snap it out and then get your fingers in the hole. So I actually figured out another way you could rapidly deploy this knife, and it's in the reverse grip, so the karambit grip. So basically what you do is you come from behind the ring like I'm doing right here with your pointer finger, grab it, pull it out, and then wave it off of the seam of your pocket with the front flipper. Now you have to be very deliberate with the front flipper and very intentional, but you can do it. So both ways do work well. It is pretty fast, it's pretty rapid. It's not as fast as an Emerson Wave, but you know, it still works. But I'm just surprised they didn't add an Emerson Wave. I don't know if there was a problem. There's a problem between the two makers or designers. I have no idea, but I do think that that is a negative. So you can put that in the negative bin. As far as other negatives go, there's not much negative. T8 hardware all the way around, decent sharp control and plunge grind, good access to the lock bar. You know, they do a great job with their titanium. Fit and finish is obviously on point. You know, the tolerances, the smoothness, everything's there. You can tell it's a very premium knife. The clip works great in and out of the pocket, super smooth. The only real thing I can complain about is just it not having a wave feature. You know, if I really wanted to start nitpicking right now, I could say that, you know, I wish their HRC was one HRC higher, but you know, I don't think they do a horrible job with it. It's a good looking knife. It's different. It's unique, to some extent unique. And, you know, I like the design, and I like tactical knives. So, you know, I'm here for it. Work hard, stay tough. You know society's relying on you. Until next time, peace.